Ever had one of those nights when it feels like the world's just too much? Rain pounding at your windows, bills piling up, and just when you think you can't take another hit, someone knocks on your door, needing more from you than you thought. You had left. That was me. One rainy night that should have been just another chapter in surviving. It was a Tuesday, or maybe a Wednesday, doesn't really matter. What matters is I lost my job at the textile warehouse. A pink slip, a sad, sorry, and that was it. 3 weeks later, my savings were gone, every last dollar being scraped together to keep my Etsy shop alive. Crochet pumpkins, angels, little button-eyed cats, whatever would sell. My kids were asleep in the next room, the electric heater humming, near their feet but never high enough to make the bills feel less terrifying. Skipping meals had become routine, but kindness, that was never something I rationed. The rain started light but picked up by the afternoon, pounding against the roof, and as I was gathering my yarn crafts from the porch, flowers, butterflies, the usual, I saw movement at the gate. At first, I thought it was just the rain playing tricks, but then I heard it. A child's cry. I looked up and saw her, an elderly woman, hair plastered to her face, clutching a broken umbrella, dragging a little boy behind her. Both were soaked. The kid's feet splashed in puddles, but the woman's eyes were lost, distant in the way people get when their memories betray them. "Come in, quick!" I shouted without thinking. Maybe I should have hesitated, but when a kid looks at you like you're the only safe place in the world, you move. I wrapped the boy in a towel, brought them both inside, and the house filled with the scent of rain, fear, and something I can only call hope. The boy's name was Eli. He said his grandma's name was Kate, and that she didn't remember him right now, and my heart twisted. I knew that look. I'd seen dementia before, watching it steal people bit by bit. I got them both dry, sat them on my couch and served bowls of chicken soup, but something in the air told me that night everything was about to change. Noodle soup, crackers on the side, and a little candle flickering on the table, trying to make the place feel brighter than it was. Sometimes all you can do is open the door and let the world in, even when you've got nothing left. Eli ate, in small, polite bites, his eyes never leaving his grandma while Kate was in and out, mumbling about trains and jam, her gaze jumping from the wall to the window to the boy. "That little boy keeps following me," she whispered, like it was a secret. I told her, "That's Eli, he's your grandson. You've been with him all day." She shook her head, lost, confused. Later, Eli told me how they'd gone to the park that morning, how Kate had been fine, laughing, pushing him on the swing, and then suddenly she just froze and started walking away, not knowing his name. He tried to stay brave, but I pulled him close. "You did the right thing, honey. You stayed with her." The night dragged on, the storm relentless, and around midnight, Kate got up, restless, mumbling about a red mailbox and my boy. I caught her before she slipped outside, held her while she sobbed about losing someone she couldn't name. The fever set in, so I cooled her down, whispered comfort, and kept watch as thunder rolled outside. The world shrank to just us. 2 kids, a lost woman, and a mother too stubborn to give in to fear. By dawn, when the rain finally stopped, I'd barely slept. Kate lay still on the couch, Eli curled up next to her, clutching the stuffed yarn dog I'd given him. Something had shifted, not just in the weather but inside me too. This night, this mess, maybe it was more than just a storm. The morning. Light broke through, and for the first time Kate sat up, hair wild but her eyes clear. "Good morning," she said. "I think I owe you a great deal." She remembered enough. The rain, getting lost, not knowing Eli. But the recognition came back suddenly, sharply. Eli woke, saw her, and launched into her arms. Both of them crying, laughing, holding on like they'd never let go. Kate admitted. She'd been diagnosed with early-onset Alzheimer's last spring. She hadn't told her son James, tried to protect him, thought if she ignored it, it might go away. She asked to borrow my phone, and when she called, I heard the panic in his voice. "Where are you? Are you okay?" Kate reassured him, tears streaming down her face. 30 minutes later, a black SUV screeched to a halt outside my gate, and in rushed James, disheveled, exhausted, desperate. He collapsed to his knees in front of Kate. James knelt in front of his mom, asking what had happened, why she hadn't called, and how she'd ended up here. Kate tried to explain, but when he looked around, at my little house, my handmade crafts, my kids still asleep in the back, I saw something shift in his expression. Gratitude, yeah, but also something deeper. an understanding of how far I'd gone for them. "You did all this for strangers?" he asked, his voice filled with awe. I smiled, telling him they weren't strangers. "Last night." He shook my hand, said he owed me, but I just told him, "Take care of your mom." That's when he noticed the crafts, neatly stacked by the window. "You sell these?" he asked, his tone quiet, almost reverent. When I told him I'd lost my job, and this was all I had left, he paused, picked up a tiny angel and turned it over in his hands like it was made of gold. "I run a distribution company," he said. "We're looking for small batch, authentic goods. You've got skill, Angela. Real skill. I want to help. Not just because you helped my family, though I owe you for that too, but because what you're doing matters. Let me tell you, when you've been scraping by for months, you don't exactly jump to believe that opportunity's knocking." But James offered me a partnership, a real contract, a way out of the grind. And for the first time in ages, I let myself imagine a different life. 3 weeks later, I was standing in a brand new space at the East Side Market Co-op. My shelves were lined with my crafts, and above the door hung a handmade sign reading "Bread of Grace." James had called in designers, contractors, but he let me make every decision. Kate came by often, helping where she could, her hands still shaky but her heart steady. Eli played with my kids, their laughter echoing off the fresh paint and new floors. Then came the real twist. James and I started something even bigger. A co-op for women like me. Mothers of the Thread, connecting single moms, grandmothers, anyone with a skill and a struggle. We taught them to crochet, to sell their work online, to take back some control over their lives. The first Saturday was pure magic. The place buzzed with customers, kids running around, cookies, lemonade, people buying more than just decorations. They bought pieces of survival, pieces of grace. A month later, business was booming. Orders were coming in from Germany, Australia, even Japan. I stood behind the counter, humbled and scared all at once. "What if it all goes away?" James asked one day, his voice serious. I could see the concern in his eyes, but he quickly followed it with, "Angela, you've built something nobody can take. Not because of me, but because of who you are." Those words stuck with me. They still do. Then one afternoon, a stranger walked in, rough hands, a patched-up coat, smelling of engine oil. "You hiring?" he asked. 20 years in the trade," he said, his voice rough. "Just need a chance." I handed him a clipboard. "We don't turn people away here," I said with a wink. Outside, a new plaque shone in the sun, commemorating that one rainy night when kindness had opened the door. And when a young reporter asked, "Did all this really start because someone knocked on your door in a storm?" I just smiled and said, "No. It started because I opened it. Now tell me, what would you do if a stranger knocked in the middle of your storm? Would you open the door?" Drop your thoughts below. Think about what it really means to do the right thing when no one's watching. Because sometimes, all it takes is a little bit of grace to change everything.